I'm so happy to be finally doing this. I've been thinking about doing football content on YouTube for the longest time, but I thought there was just too many people doing it. But you know what? I don't even care anymore. I just love talking about football. I think sometimes you just gotta look past everything that holds you back. And right now, I'm in such a good mood because Guardiola actually has a smile on his face. It's kind of like he's satisfied and he feels like he's gotten somewhere. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that he doesn't look satisfied yet, but I think after this game, he actually said something like, "This is our best performance since I took over," or something like that. And that's pretty telling. That's pretty telling in terms of the best of Pep Guardiola. We've seen it. We've seen from the Barcelona days when they were ripping teams apart and just controlling games like in a frightening way. And it seems like those times have come to Man City, and the fact that no team has done this since the 1800s. Think about that. It was Everton in 1890 something. That's how far you have to go back to find a time when a team scored this many goals in this few games. It's not a United, it's not a Liverpool. As great as those teams were, they haven't even dominated this way. Okay? Now, when it comes to people saying fraudiola and stuff like that, it's usually people in England, it's usually people that support, well, not people in England, but it's people that support English teams that have that rhetoric. And for me, it's like, yeah, take that. Well, I mean, it's gonna be better when this team has actually won stuff, but this record tells you a little bit. The fact that even Fergie, and I respect Sir Alex, hasn't had a team this dominant. Okay, you have to go back to the 1800s. The Premier League is tougher than La Liga. To score that many goals against anyone in the Premier League is rare. I've seen games that go up to 6 or 7 in the Premier League. There are anomalies. It doesn't happen that often. City have done it in games in a row. They're like on a streak of thrashing teams. All right, so I just want to justify Guardiola for a while because he's been taking heat for not being able to recreate some of the things he's done in other leagues in the Premier League. Of course, he hasn't won a trophy yet, so but the key word is yet. All right, now I'm just gonna go on and talk about the game. What can I say? It was dominant. City were almost pedestrian in the way they were moving. I mean, what I mean is they just controlled the game to that extent. Now they did get a little bit complacent, I'll be honest, because Stoke came in and they almost came back in the game and scored 2 goals, and it looked a little bit like, whoa, what's going on? Are we letting this game slip? But then, of course, City scored 4 more goals, right? Yeah, yeah. It's like we score 3, you want to act like you're gonna come back. Okay, we're gonna score 4 now. And the amazing thing was just the sheer amount of players that contributed to the scoreline. Jesus was the only one that scored more than once. No, actually, yeah, Jesus was the only one who scored more than once. I'm confusing the two Silvers as one person now, and I'm sure I'm not the first or the last person to do that. The two Silvers got on the score sheet. Sane, I always love it when Sane and Sterling score, so because I feel like when you have wingers that have pace and trickery, once you get them scoring, it's a thing of beauty because guys with pace are always gonna get chances just because they have that ability to get away from defenders. So if they have that scoring touch, oh man, that's what you want. That's what you want in a winger. That's just more goals for the team. So I'm glad they got on the score line. Fernandinho with just an unstoppable shot. It was just beautiful. Rocket, top corner. Good to see him score. It's been a while actually. Um, Bernardo Silva getting his first goal for City. That's good. That should boost his confidence. Good to see that he has an eye for goal or whatever. And yeah, everything looked good. I just a little bit of defensive lapse twice. Once was one was it was a bit of a lucky goal. It was a really good play from Stoke. But I don't know, the reaction time of the defense seemed quite slow for that first one. And the second one was a cross, which they allowed the cross and allowed the header, which it doesn't look good. So, as dominant as City were, there was a few things to worry about. Now, for me, I love attacking football so much that I would say if you're assured to outscore the opposition, then it's not that big of a deal. But, if you can work on it, fix it. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have games when maybe you're not going to be able to outscore the opposition. But with this team, who knows? Either way, that happened and that's an issue. But now, back to positive stuff. Aguero is fit again, it seems. He was on the bench. He didn't play. Now, the good news there is that even with Aguero not playing, Jesus is more than capable of scoring goals and, all these other players. But I want to talk about Jesus but in particular because he had his first goal drought. It was only 3 games, but since he started so well, that was a significant drought for him by his standards. Okay? By his standards. And for me, it was like you have this apprehension because you don't know him that well. He's a bit of an unknown quantity since he just came on the scene recently. So you're thinking, man, is he one of those guys who goes on really long goal droughts and then comes back and scores again? You don't know. But, he scored again, and it's just after 3 games. That's not bad at all. So I like the fact that he came back. The way he took his goals, he didn't seem phased by the fact that he hasn't scored. He was positive the whole time. He was always looking for stuff. That left foot finish into the top corner. Oh man, like that should not be underestimated. That should not be. You shouldn't take that for granted. That was a great, great finish. The confidence, the application, the fact that it was his weaker foot. We might have a super striker on our hands. I mean, everything has been about De Bruyne this season. And I don't know who else is world class that everyone talks about. Matter of fact, I can't really think of anyone else. Anyways, Jesus might be something. No one's really talked about him contending for the golden boot or whatever, but I think he should be up there. I think he's a striker and a half, a great goal scorer for me. And I don't care whether he's poaching them or whatever. He seems like he just knows how to get the ball in the back of the net. Okay, so I talked about Aguero. Nice way to segue into injury news. I don't think there's no new injuries as far as I know. It's same guys, Mendy, Company. I'm going to talk about Company for a second. Is it time to start thinking about a replacement, a long-term replacement? I know it's hard to talk about because he's the captain and he's amazing, but he made a statement in preseason about he came out and said his injury problems are behind him, and I believed him. But now I'm heartbroken because he clearly just cannot get over it. So this might make me unpopular saying this, but you know, at the end of the day, it's football, and you can't count on a player who's not there. So is it time to find a long-term replacement? Because it's not Otamendi. Okay, it is just not. Otamendi has moments when it's like, oh, whoa, 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 dude, what are you doing? I'm going to mention the Chelsea game. It was only a 1-0 lead, and late in the game, he gave away a free kick, which was pretty close to creating something for Chelsea. So I'm just saying. Anyways, back to positive stuff. Kevin De Bruyne. The Stoke game was his 100th game, and I'm just going to go to PremierLeague.com just so I don't get the stats wrong. I just want to check out some of the man's stats. Now, I know that stats aren't everything, and there's players like Ozil who have good stats, but there's still a lot of negative things to their game, and they divide opinion and whatnot. But at the same time, for the most part, stats are telling because Messi and Ronaldo, for example, are always at the top of stats tables when it comes to goals and assists and all that other stuff. So stats are they're vital as well. They tell you something. So his tackle success. Let's just talk about the defensive side of his game. 76%. And this is a guy who sometimes plays very advanced. So he's not not contributing in defense. Okay? What I mean is he is contributing in defense. He's doing his defensive shift for a guy who is you wouldn't necessarily fault him for not defending because he has end product, but he does it anyways. Okay, and this is from Premier League, PremierLeague.com. So this is just his Premier League stats. Bear in mind the stats from other leagues. So he's played 72 games. He's blocked 40 shots, 49 interceptions. Okay, he's won 286 duels. So he's doing his defensive work. Okay, he's doing his defensive work. Now let's get to the dope stuff. Let's get to the amazing stuff. The assists. 33 assists in 72 matches. Okay. Let that sink in. 33 assists in 72 matches. Okay. That is the creative output of the man in assists. Through balls, 57. This is actually the stat that I wanted to see because I know not every time. What I mean is sometimes a midfielder like KDB will split a defense open with an amazing pass, but it doesn't lead to a goal. So, that assist stat is not there. But through balls, 57 in 72 games. Okay, so pretty much most games, De Bruyne is gonna hit an accurate through ball behind the defense, the opposition's defense. That is amazing. 55 shots on target. 14 goals from midfield. Yeah. I would say best midfielder in the league. I would say that. And he just keeps getting better. I don't know. His body language. His body language for me just says get on with it. He looks like a guy who's just there to work for the team and not necessarily worried about his own glory because he seems very happy to assist. And the key thing with KDB for me, decision making. Most of the time, you're not looking at KDB after an action and thinking, I think he should have passed instead of shooting. Oh, I think he should have taken the shot instead of passing. He always seems to do the right thing. It's just uncanny. It's crazy. It's just really, really great to have somebody who's so intelligent with the ball. Like he just makes the right call. and he's only 26, so he's gonna hit his prime probably next year. Well, some would argue he's in his prime. I feel like players hit their prime personally. This is just a personal opinion. I think players hit their prime 27 to about 31. That's just how I see it. So I feel like there's more to come, and I almost kind of wish he would have another season where he's playing at number 10, closer to goal. Man, his attacking output would it would improve, I think. But I'm satisfied with the way things are. And Napoli, I'm excited for this Napoli game because it's a next level of opposition. No disrespect to Stoke or anyone like that, but that's a good team to face. It's going to be a good barometer to measure where City are, especially when it comes to Europe. So I am looking forward to that game, and I will have something for the preview. I will speak about it, and yeah, I will see you, or you will hear me then. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a video or a podcast, but it will happen. All right, guys, have the greatest week. This is Godfrey with a little Monday football review. Take care, guys.